who likes what he hears from Ted Cruz. New proposal, legislative proposal on resettling the refugees, allowing states, governors of states, to refuse admission of refugees coming into the United States. He joins us now. Governor Abbott, I know we only have you for a few minutes, but tell us about the Cruz proposal and why it makes sense for Texas. I understand at least 2 Syrian families, both Muslim, have already arrived in Texas.
Well, I like the proposal because my office was the architect behind the proposal. We've been working with Senator Cruz for the past week on this proposal. This builds on a separate proposal that Senator Cruz offered up last month to ensure that refugees coming from terrorist-based nations will have certain restrictions are applied to them. But now here we are having refugees coming in from Syria. And Laura, I know you know this, but it's worth echoing and reminding people what the dangers are. And that is the FBI director, the director of national intelligence, the chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee have all said they talked about the dangers of refugees coming in from Syria who are going to be infiltrated by ISIS terrorists. And then there's another fact that a lot of people have lost track of, and that is the president granted waivers allowing in refugees to the United States who provided material support for terrorists. And so this is insanity that we are letting these people in a way that's completely unvettable. And so here's what this law does. What this law does is it builds upon the authority that the states already have, which the federal government, of course, has diminished. But it builds upon that authority and allows governors to unilaterally make the decision that inadequate information has been provided to the states to allow us to vet the safety and security of the refugees being sent to our state. Bottom line is, Senator Cruz's plan would allow the state of Texas or other states to reject these refugees from Syria because of the safety and security concerns they raise.
Well, yesterday the House passed that visa waiver overhaul, which has gotten a lot of publicity, and that was driven by the Paris attacks. And the legislation takes aim at that visa waiver program, allows citizens of 38 countries to travel to the U.S. and stay for 90 days without first obtaining a visa from an embassy. So that was 407 and 19 vote. I mean, how many times has that happened? Does that make you feel better?
Well, it makes me feel better in this regard, and that is it's clear that finally, Congress is waking up to the fact that the American people have had it up to here with regard to people coming into this country who are posing a danger in this nation. So Congress is taking action, but they are still running headlong into a president, into a presidential administration that continues to downplay and ignore and soft pedal or backpedal about what's going on. And our problem, Laura, is coming from the federal government, and they're tying the hands of the states to keep our citizens safe.
Well, isn't this a problem when, given what we know about ISIS's desire and the desire, of course, of other offshoot radical Islamic groups to infiltrate America through any vulnerability, any opening, any way they can get in, they're going to try to get in. We saw that with a terror bride use of the K-1 visa. Now we have 20 million visitors who do come into the country every year under this visa waiver program. And they are screened, according to the reporting, by this online system that Homeland Security maintains. And then the White House said and announced a series of improvements to the screening, right? So that's what we know about this. So there are 20 million people. Most of them come in. They're fine, obviously. They come in as a tourist for 3 months and then usually go back. But we have another problem, do we not, with people overstaying their visas, Governor Abbott, who remain in the United States despite the fact having applied for an original student visa or au pair visa, whatever it is. Then they stay and they never leave. And then some of them, we know, could become radicalized in the future. That's also a problem.
It is an absolute problem that has to be resolved, and it's essential that Congress get to work on it and the president sign it. But again, more specifically, I just want to repeat this, and that is what Congressman McCall said, who is the House Homeland Security chairman. He said, and I quote, "Individuals tied to terrorist groups in Syria have tried to access our country through the refugee program. So we have people working daily to get in here who are known terrorists, with the White House turning a blind eye to it and forcing the states to accept these refugees who may be infiltrated with terrorists.
Governor, y'all are finding yourselves with some Syrian refugee families. Are they able to get state services? And I mean, I imagine they're being cared for by like Catholic charities or something like that. I mean, they get a lot of money from the federal government to help with this refugee program. To follow the money, that's what I say. But what's happening with those families? Where are they living? How are they getting supported? And
right now, through private sources, the state of Texas is maintaining its position that we are trying to block funding that's set up through this refugee relocation program that would flow through to them, because we are being adamant that we are not going to be accomplices to a program that could be importing terrorists into the United States.
Right. Well, and Ted Cruz, this is a third in a series of pieces of legislation that he's introduced to try to, turn this thing around. But I mean, do you agree with this overall assessment that we should just do a pause on immigration, all immigration, forget Muslim immigration, but immigration, until we can really discern who's here and why they're here and get rid of visa overstays? Would you be in favor of a pause on all immigration, Governor?
The smarter strategy, Laura, is this, and that is you got to go after what the real problem is. The real problem is radical Islamic terrorists.
Yeah.
We have the capability, the know-how to attack that problem, and we're ignoring that problem as opposed to attacking it. That is the strategy that needs to be done.
All right, Governor Abbott, we appreciate it. Coming up, the UKIP party